to Karina and the team for putting us on. For those of you that didn't spot it, one of the most amazing things about this venue is that all of the money gets put back into the charity and goes towards helping people in the local people in the region. So if you use this space, you are doing two amazing things. You will have an amazing event, and you will be doing something really, really good for the region. So we can't thank you enough for having us. Thank you. I do have a few slides there, but I'm going to just do this casual slide around to the side so that I can press buttons, because I've just got a few things, a little bit more than normal, because with January I thought we should refresh ourselves about what CreativeMornings is, why we're here, all that good stuff. So we're here to talk on sanctuary. I can't think that a place and a person were more suited to a theme, so more on that. MailChimp. Show of hands of who signed up to the newsletter. I do like to name and shame. If you're not, there's a really, really tiny button on the right-hand side of the website that allows you to sign up for the newsletter. You have to brace yourself for the odd GIF. I am well known for littering them with GIF images. Mostly just to cheer myself up, because I get to browse Giphy for at least 20 minutes looking for one. But we couldn't do what we do, and we couldn't keep in touch with you guys without the help of MailChimp. They are our global sponsors, so they allow me access to MailChimp for free so that we can communicate with you, and that is an amazing thing to do. So thank you very much. MailChimp, I didn't realise till I started doing CreativeMornings, offer a lot more than just come and use our email system. They have a lot of help and support for small businesses. That's what they know one of their key markets is. They're doing something really good at the moment. If you've got 5 minutes over a brew, go and have a look at these animated shorts that they're doing, all in a day's work. It's one of those kind of laughy / cringy things. The one I watched yesterday was someone, all business up here, pants and socks down here. Good old Zoom, COVID days. But they've got lots like that. So they do a lot of other things to support. So if you're looking randomly, if you are thinking, how do I do this in my business? MailChimp might be a place to go and have a look, because they've got oodles of articles helping and supporting small businesses. I urge you to look. Did anyone bring a friend today? There's definitely a few people who brought a friend. Oh, little more friend, one more friend, one more friend. It absolutely counts. It absolutely counts. We would love more people to hear about CreativeMornings, and the most bestest way is not through my social media ramblings. It is through you telling people that you enjoyed it and you enjoyed listening to the amazing speakers that we have. Keep telling people, keep sharing. We love more people, we love a bigger community. As you know, we're keeping going on the road, changing venue and trying to take our community to other communities. So hopefully you will keep getting to know and introduce people when you come along. So, this was really to remind myself that not only are you part of our local community, but you're part of a global community. So, there are 223 chapters in 67 countries, and oodles of people that I went through do good stuff online. And loads of people watch the videos. So everything we do is videoed. It's live streamed. We take photographs. I say we, the lovely team that help. And all of that goes up onto the global website. So there literally are people all around the world. And I know there are, because as a host, when I talk to the people from headquarters in New York, which is always very exciting. I'm like, a journey to New York. Clearly I live a small, quiet life. The materials that they produce often include images from what we're doing in Derby. So I like to think that out of all of those things happening, we get a lot of airtime. You know, they're looking to us. We are a consistent and strong community. We're putting a little pin in the map for Derby. So thank you again. If you can't get enough of CreativeMornings once a month, just isn't enough. There is an option from the global community to go on a field trip. So those tend to be online. I think they're all online at the moment, where you can go on a field trip. So there's a whole list of free online events, workshops, sessions. There's such a range of things in there, it's really hard to think of one word to cover them all. So you can get your little Creative Mornings fill in between. So people from all over the world offer to host them and put on good stuff about every topic you could possibly think of.
Potato sculpture.
Exactly. It is bound to be in there. So if you haven't had a look, go and have a little look at the list of upcoming field trips. There might just be something in there that's great for you. The manifesto, I do read it periodically because it really encapsulates why we get together, why we're here, what Creative Mornings is all about, and this thing that you come along to. So it was New Year, I felt we should roll it out again. Roll it out again, it's New Year. So everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We're here to support you, celebrate with you, encourage you to make the things that you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in hugs and high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire others and inspire change in neighbourhoods and cities around the world. So that, gang, is why you're here. Now, we couldn't do what we do without a lot of help. As in, I couldn't do this for you without a lot of help. Luke is on his travels, having a lovely time, I think in Hungary. I was just jealous. I couldn't, by the time he said he was going on a long trip, that was it. So I have managed to persuade Ben to join us. Ben is from Goldbox Productions. Ben, just give us a little, who are Goldbox, who are you? Give us a little tell about yourself.
We're a team of 4 and we all met at the Uni of Derby studying film production and decided we want to start our own business. So we make video content for businesses. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So we can't thank Ben enough for making us look really beautiful. He's got his beautiful, fuzzy lens on, smoothing out the wrinkles. It's the 10 years younger lens, as I like to call it. So thank you very much for being here and supporting us. We really appreciate it. Also in the room is Simon from Jack Photography. I don't know if any of you have spotted, we have a Flickr channel. So each month I put all of our images up on Flickr, so if you want to go and have a look, see if he snapped you, see if he's got your best side, and they're all available to download, so all of those imagery, all that imagery is available to you to use for free. Also, if you go back into any of the talks on the Creative Mornings Derby website, they're linked there too, so if you go back in, you can see the video, you can see the photographs, and you can watch again, have a look, and see the pictures. Bon is here, she's there. Bon makes us look beautiful in 3D in the real world. Some people have seen, there's a couple of nice little calendars left. Anyone who needs a little desktop calendar being beautifully displayed here by Bon. There's some of those on the front desk. Anyone who's got one of these, I'm afraid I gave out my last one today. Sad times. We may all have to campaign for more. You'll have to talk to Bon. If you think we need more badges, then we need to have a word with Bon. But if you need anything making in print, and I literally mean probably anything, Bon should be definitely your first port of call. She's the lady to ask. And from here, you could reach her office, in about 20 steps? Just there! Just there! So it couldn't be more convenient. So if any of you are thinking, it's New Year and I need new stuff, Bon's your lady. As some of you know, I have another hat that I wear, which is the day job, which is working at the University of Derby. Currently, we are running the Derbyshire Festival of Business, and this event is part of that, so we are listed as part of the Derbyshire Festival of Business. It is a whole range of events over the next 3 months, covering all aspects of business and help and support to small business. I would massively encourage you, again, to go and do a little bit of homework and go and have a look at that. If you are looking for events, workshops, things to go to, other things to do over the next few months, there's a host of things. Some in person, some online, but do go and have a look. We want to try and make this festival as big and vibrant and busy as possible. So I'm sneaking in, which I don't normally do, because I don't normally release what's happening next month until the 1st of the month, when we get our beautiful new illustration, and we get the theme, and we get all of the copy that goes with it. But I'm so excited about next month because it's a little bit different. So we are very luckily going up to Denby Pottery, and it's a bit more of a Creative Mornings special, I'm calling it, and you guys here are the first to hear about it. So, for those of you that fancy a bit of great pottery anyone a great pottery throwdown fan? Yeah, there's a few in the room. You can come along and have a little throwing lesson on the wheel. So I've got 12 slots for people to come and have a 20-minute lesson of throwing on the wheel. From 10, they're opening up their museum, so we can go around and have a tour around the museum. Then we're going to be heading into the Farm Shop Cafe. For those of you that haven't been to Denby or haven't been in for a while, they've got a lovely new cafe connected to the farm shop. Oodles of tempting food, of loveliness that you didn't know you wanted till you went in there. And we will be having Gary Hawley, speaking for us, and he's the design manager there. His background is so interesting. He's worked on some amazing brands, creating ceramics, and it's going to be good. It's going to be a good one. But I love that I said would they do a talk, and they've really thrown open their doors and said we can do that bit more than that. I've got room for 40 people to come. I think it's going to be popular. I will be putting it up, hopefully, over the weekend. If you're on the email list, I will be nudging you. Hint, hint. Sign up if you haven't. But I would love you guys to be part of that, to come along and dip into all the bits, some of the bits, whatever takes your fancy. But they're putting on a really good show for us, and I would equally like to take a really good crowd to them, because they are offering all of that as usual for free. So take part, it's going to be good. Phew, that's me done now. That's the waffle. That's the welcome back waffle done. So we're going to do a quick laptop swap. I don't know if we want to make sure you're on the right screen. And then I'm going to hand it over to Karina Moulton. You're welcome. Into that end. Good. Right.
Okay. Tech is working. Well, good morning and welcome. Thank you so much for coming here this morning. It is always a delight to host events like this that really fit with our values and our vision. Just to introduce you to the team, this is Colin, our events manager here. So if you want to book rooms, venues, an event, we have a lot of rooms upstairs, 6 training rooms upstairs, a media room, and we have a co-working space just in Bridge Hub across the way. So if you need some space for an event, or we can do up to 700 in the main hall behind us, so for a big event as well. But it's lovely to have you here this morning. Thank you for coming. And a real delight to speak on this subject of sanctuary, which is something for me has been, I suppose, close to my heart for about 20 years. It was in about 2000 that I realised that refugees were arriving in Derby from all over the world, and just got involved, actually through the arts at the start, doing arts projects with refugee artists. So I'll tell you a bit more about my story as we go along. But the theme is sanctuary. But I wonder what you think about when you think of the word sanctuary. Anybody want to shout out something? And when you say sanctuary, what does that make you think of?
A safe space.
A safe space. Brilliant. Anybody else? No idea.
Peace.
Peace. Yeah. Place of peace.
Calmness.
Calmness.
Support.
Support. Great.
What kindness.
Kindness. Brilliant. What a lot of lovely words around the word sanctuary, but it can be quite a contentious issue, can't it, in our society? So, yeah, sanctuary has the idea of a haven or a refuge. Actually, in Greek or Roman history, there was a big area around the temple that was called the sanctuary. It was a place where people could come and be safe. And often it has that kind of, the original meaning was kind of a sacred space, but it became to mean a place of safety, because people would come to that place when they needed refuge. So it was a haven, a refuge, maybe a sacred place, and a place of safety. And this S is on Holyrood Abbey up in Edinburgh, and it marks a place of sanctuary or safety where people could come if they were fleeing. So it has this idea of a place for the persecuted to come and find safety. I've had the privilege of working and meeting lots of people who have actually come to Derby to find a place of safety and a place of refuge. And it's kind of been a bit of my mission over the years to make sure Derby is a welcoming place. I remember sitting in lots of council meetings saying, Derby is such a welcoming city, and they would say, yes, it is. And so shouldn't we be welcoming more refugees to Derby? And they kind of started to nod. So that was my mission. And I think, there's a way to go still, but Derby has done an amazing job of welcoming refugees and asylum seekers, giving people sanctuary in our city for many years. But all of us as humans have a need to feel safe, don't we? And for all of us, there are times in our lives where maybe we feel a bit unsafe. Maybe you felt a bit unsafe coming here this morning for the first time. Maybe you were new. Who am I going to meet? Are people going to be friendly? But there are times in our lives, isn't there, of stress maybe, or illness, when we feel insecure about our work or our finances, maybe insecure or unsafe in relationships. Maybe you're starting a new job or a new project and that feels a little bit unsafe. I've spoken to a few people this morning who are saying, I'm just thinking of launching out on my own. So maybe you can relate to this feeling of feeling unsafe or insecure. So all of us need sanctuary. I don't know if for you there's a place where you go that makes you feel safe. Maybe it's a favourite chair or sofa that you sit on. Maybe it's outside. That's a place you feel safe and at peace, on top of a mountain or on a walk. Or maybe like this guy, you just like to have that's your place of sanctuary, a nice hot bath where nobody can disturb you. But we all need those places of sanctuary. But sanctuary is also often about people, and it's the people who make us feel safe. Maybe it's a colleague you can talk to, or a friend you can go and have coffee with. Just think about who you go to when you're feeling a bit unsafe and insecure. Are there people who make you feel safe? We all need that. I learnt a new word last week. It's a Hebrew word, and the word is hesed. And it's an interesting word because it has this sense of kind of attachment or relational attachment, glue that holds us together. Somebody said this morning, kindness is about kind and loyal care for one another. It's also about bringing good things into a relationship. And for me, sanctuary isn't often so much about a place, but it's about the people who make us feel safe, people who care for us. And I suppose that's what I learned as I started to meet refugees and asylum seekers. It wasn't so much the practical stuff that people wanted. It was relationship, it was community. When people have been displaced, what they're looking for is community and safe places. So for some people, seeking sanctuary is a more critical issue. There's times we feel unsafe, but many people have had to flee their country because they're no longer safe. Physically, maybe because of political persecution or religious. They've had to just upend, I don't know if you can imagine, leaving everything behind. Leaving the house that you'd built, the business that you'd built, the relationships that you've had, and having to flee and start all over again in a different country, not sure what's going to happen to you when you get there, and if people are going to welcome you or not. It was in 2002 that I first became aware that into our city were people coming from Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq, later on Syria, into our city. And I began to think, what could we do to welcome them and make them feel safe? And part of this was Derby 2002, people were starting to be welcomed from all over the world. And part of that came out of my own experience when, in about 1996, I moved with my husband for a few years to Estonia. It was just sort of post the communist regime, and we were working with young people and teaching English. It was a great time, but we were in a foreign country. These were some of the lovely young people we worked with. That was our Vanagon that we took with us, which was brilliant. So working with these young people who were just coming into kind of a new society. But while we were there, we had our first baby. So here's me looking a little bit younger, and our son, Isaac. But we were so loved and welcomed. You know, we were in a foreign land, we didn't really speak the language very well, but people came around us and cared for us. And I think that's part of what motivated me when people started arriving in Derby to think, how can we extend the same welcome to them that we received back then? We're actually going back out in February. These two lovely people, Helva and Karina, got married, and this is their gorgeous family now. We're going to go and stay with them. He now owns one of Estonia's largest real estate companies, so that's been a lovely story to track with them over many years. So we wanted to extend the same welcome. But we didn't know how. How do you connect with people if you don't know them? And it was about Christmas time, and we were packing up some of those boxes with our children to send overseas. I thought there must be people in the city that we can maybe take some boxes to, just to say welcome. So we partnered with a refugee organisation, and a few of us went in trepidation with our boxes, with our kids, and knocked on some doors, just kind of to see what the response would be. And what was surprising is actually we were welcomed. All of us were welcomed into people's homes, given tea, and people said things like, we've been in Derby for 3 months or 6 months and we don't know anyone. We feel afraid to go out. And everybody there was so, just so keen to connect with people and to make friends. So that was the start. We took our welcome boxes, and over, I'll tell you a bit more about welcome boxes, but over many years, many refugees, this is Nozal, a friend of ours who has a shop on Normanton Road, have just connected through welcome boxes, so that's been lovely. So we wanted to offer sanctuary, but actually what we found over the years is that we've been given so much welcome and sanctuary. We've had lovely meals in friends' homes, Iranian food and Syrian food and lots of food, so we have to be careful about our weight on this journey. We are so welcomed. But I just wanted to, Puya works for us at Reach Events. I asked him if he would very kindly share with us a little bit about what has made him feel safe as someone who had to flee his country, left Iran in 2019. So I'm so grateful to him. So give him a clap. Puya's just going to So Puya, welcome.
Thank you.
You left Iran 2019
Yes.
and you came to Derby. How did that feel when you arrived here in Derby?
Let me introduce
Yeah.
myself. Good morning, everyone. My name is Puya. I'm from Iran. I left my country 2019. Actually, when I came to the UK, I felt safe because it's a safe country for me. But after a while, you know, stress come to me again for leave to remain, because I don't have any family here. I don't have any friend. I need a friend for conversation, and this country is different culture with Asia, and we should improve my English first and communicate with other people and make a friend here. And actually, I've got leave to remind, and I find a friend here, and my life is good. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Well, we're really happy to have you here. So you had that experience of coming here and feeling safe, and then I think the whole process of, you know, going through the process of claiming sanctuary here in the UK can be quite a long and difficult process.
Yeah. Take it near the 2 years.
2 years,
Yes.
yeah.
Actually, I was on the way for 1 year from when I left my country and came to the UK.
Yeah.
Just 1 year I wasn't on the way.
So 1 year travelling, if you can imagine the
Yeah.
stress of that, feeling very
Yeah.
unsafe and insecure. Arrive here, feel safe, and then you have to go through the long process
Yes,
of
long
settling,
process, yeah.
and then rebuilding your life. And
Yeah.
I know you've got some dreams. What is it that you would really like to do in the future?
Actually, these days I try my best to improve my English. I've got 2 courses and I want to go to university. I want to become dentist. Not yet in the future. And then this is my dream when I was young, when I was child, and I used to think I would to become a dentist. And here is good situation for me. Is England, UK, the government UK give me this situation for carry on my dream, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Just give Puyo a clap. In the meantime, we are very happy that Puyo is working here with Reach Events because he's absolutely fantastic. So it's great to have you on the team here. So everyone needs to feel safe. So it was back in about 2005. We've been doing some welcome boxes on a voluntary basis that I thought, well, there's some space in Derby to create an organisation that is going to help welcome refugees and help people integrate. So I started Upbeat Communities with a vision to build community. Creativity was part of that. So one of the first things we did was run an Art in the Park course. We used to run a cafe in the Arboretum for a while and lots of music festivals, world music festivals. So that was really, really fun. And some of you might know what it feels like to take the plunge into something new. I'd encourage you, if you have a vision for something, you know, it's worth having a go. It wasn't all success. We had businesses and social enterprises we started and stopped, but many of them as well ended up like with Upbeat Communities Derby Language School. We ran a food business. We ran some a SOTA work project, and all of those things were helping refugees to become entrepreneurial and maybe start their own businesses. So encourage you. So I took the plunge, left my job, started Upbeat, and it's been lovely to see. I wonder if I can just get up, just wanted to get up the timeline, sorry, for Upbeat Communities here, just to show you a little bit. I might need to move this over here. Oh yeah, great. Of the timeline. Now I've got to find the mouse, which is always challenging. It's over here. So 2005, we started the Beat Cafe in the Arboretum Park. Some arts projects, some festivals in the park, women's groups. We did some festivals, and then we realised that Derby didn't have a refugee week, so the group has started Refugee Week in Derby, which was really fun, just celebrating the different cultures that would come to our city. More welcome boxes, we got some more funding, sewing project, we had lots of fun over the years. Food projects, bringing people, lots of different things to bring people together to share culture and help people build those relationships, that Hesed community. Kept developing welcome boxes because it was such a great way of meeting people. Then started Derby Language School. Upbeat had always started as a social enterprise, became a charity, but always the idea that if we can help generate some of our income as we do the things we want to do. So Derby Language School was launched. That's still going really well. Derby became a city of sanctuary, so with a number of partners, we got Derby. I don't know if it's officially a city of sanctuary. There was a lot of opposition at one point from the council, but we started a group anyway. Upbeat Incubator, some enterprise training, food projects, housing, baby showers. We realised that women who were having babies here from refugee backgrounds weren't getting the same kind of people celebrating. They didn't have family around to celebrate that they were having a baby, so started baby showers. And then we got the contract to resettle Syrians in Derbyshire, which was great. This is the point at which I kind of exited, because we realised welcome boxes was a great tool and we wanted to sort of multiply that around the country. It had been started here as a church project at Reach Church. So we launched welcome churches to, let me just show you a little bit about welcome churches, I'll go back to the slideshow, to actually multiply that project and share that project around the country. I'll go back to our PowerPoint and, how do I get rid of here? I'll have to move this off and show you how many projects there are now, because sometimes scaling up is not about you doing it, it's about working with other partners. So how do I get back to this? Do I escape that? The community started. So we started sort of sharing this project around the country, and this is the number of projects now who are different cities that are welcoming refugees. Some of them using welcome boxes, some of them using other tools like language classes. So I started this charity about 5 years ago. 2 years ago I decided it no longer really needed me, because there was a great team doing it. Some of them are based over the road here. And it's now grown to a £1.3 million charity working with refugees all over the UK. So that's lovely. So sometimes it's lovely. Sometimes you're just the catalyst for something, aren't you, that then goes on beyond you. So 2 years ago, I decided to take a step back and do some study. So I started a master's in social innovation. So looking at how businesses and organisations can make a social impact. And how do you balance the tensions really between like trying to make money and trying to help people? And to draw out some of those tensions, and how do you build a cohesive organisation that carries the values that you want while still generating the income so that you can help the people we want to. So I was asked to come and help reimagine Reach Events. There'd always been an events business here, but it had kind of just been a sort of business on the side. So we did a refurbishment of the building during lockdown, which was amazing, got a bank loan and refurbished the building. And then we began to reimagine, how do we want the events business to be? How do we want it to serve the business community in Derby, as well as schools, community groups that want to come here? So we decided to open the co-working space so that people could come together and collaborate and reimagine the cafe area and the main hall. But also to really, I suppose, shout about the fact that as a business, we're a social enterprise, so we're a not-for-profit, and all our profits then going to reach charity. Obviously, with my background, I had a bit of a vision that our staff team would reflect the diversity in our city. These are some of our team, some people who have come from Hong Kong, have had to flee that country because of the political problems there, others from Iran and others who have been born and brought up in Derby. So I love working with this team. But I also love that when we're running our events, we're also having an impact. So every week there's 55 youth here on a Friday night, there's an older folks group on a Friday morning, we have a recovery group on a Wednesday night, families, refugees, people from Hong Kong and young adults, as well as all the business people, NHS workers, entrepreneurs that we host here each week. So that produces some interesting tensions at the time. You know, we have the main hall cleared every week and young people are like charging around, and then it's got to be back looking beautiful on a Saturday or morning. So, but it's wonderful to be part of a business that can hopefully serve those different communities. And then we also partner with quite a lot of other organisations. We give some money, we encourage volunteering with some of these partners in Derby. So great to work alongside other charities that are trying to do the same and to help people. So I suppose I just want to leave you with a thought of how could you create in your life or work a place of sanctuary for people, a welcome, a safe place. It might be somebody, a refugee or asylum seeker, but equally it might be a colleague that's struggling or having a difficult time. You can just be a safe place for them. In Derby today we have 3 hotels full of refugees and asylum seekers. Some Afghan families who've been in Derby for over a year are still in a hotel with all their children. It might sound great, it's not great. So there are lots of people in Derby with their own story to tell. But maybe you can be a place of refuge for someone who is struggling. Maybe you can reach out to them in some way. Maybe you can hold the door open where you've maybe walked through and you can give a hand of opportunity to someone else. So all of us need sanctuary, don't we, at some point? All of us need relationships and people that we can go to. But as we go in our businesses, we can provide that safe place for others where they can find a haven and find sanctuary. So thank you. Let you go with that encouragement as you go about your work this week. Thank you.
I can't believe that some people won't have some questions. Something they'd like to say. Yes, I'm far away.
Are you working with the Lexis project?
The
Lexis at Derby College?
No, I'm not. Is that the English language track? Is that what it's called? Yeah. We have a lot of refugees who are part of that, and they're doing a brilliant job there, just with education, because obviously language skills is very important for people. Yeah. Because
I did some work with Derby Book Festival, who helped to produce that, and they produced some books that went out to local schools to then get kids more aware of asylum seekers and refugees. Yeah. And I just thought that might be quite a good thing for you.
Yeah, Derby Book Festival has been a great kind of... We started Refugee Week, and a few years later Derby Book Festival started and had kind of a vision to be part of that. So brilliant. That's a nice thing about Derby. You've got small organisations all working for the same aim. Sorry.
Thanks, Karina. That was brilliant. Loved it. The impact that you have as an individual is incredible, and the impact of the things that you've done is so far-reaching. what you've done with the welcome boxes, that sort of starting that off and being that catalyst, that conduit, and then seeing that map of what you started to then seeing that, and although you step back from it, how do you still feel emotionally involved with that? Do you still keep in with it? Do you still sort of see if it's sort of, how do you sort of emotionally let that go? Because that's a quite an amazing thing to sort of step back. So do you still keep in with it, or do you sort of let other people run
It's
with
a
it?
really good question. If you're a catalyst or an entrepreneur or a starter, there might be times when the best thing is for you to leave other people to build things. So yeah, I still feel very proud and I track with the team. But I think when you're the founder of something, it's actually quite important sometimes to step aside and let other people build it and it be their thing, not your thing. So yeah, I'm very proud of Upbeat Communities and the team there and the Welcome Boxes team and what they do. So yeah, but there is an emotional process sometimes if you're an entrepreneur of letting go so that you can fully invest yourself in the next thing. But yeah, it's a bit like your kids, you know, they go, they don't, but you can still care about them all the time. So, but yeah, what it showed me is actually sometimes a very simple idea, you know, can actually catalyse into something quite big. You know, it's not always the very complex things. Sometimes it's a simple idea or solution that is effective. You know, it's not the whole thing. You know, it's not rocket science, but it's effective. Welcome boxes were effective in training local people in how to engage, you know, sensitively with refugees and to provide that welcome. Very simple, but with some skills and training, then kind of anybody can do it. So encourage you might have a simple idea, but actually it might be able to be sort of far-reaching. So yeah, sometimes those, you know, it's those things. It's not the things that make us loads of money, or it's simple things that have an impact that we can share with others. I encourage you to share. There's much more open source sharing. Share freely the things that make an impact that you've learned.
Yes, thank you very much for such an inspiring talk. One of the things that you were just talking about letting go, as you were talking, it was something about surrendering, ego, lack of ego, because somebody else in your position may not have let go and it may not have gone the way that it has. I just wondered whether you consciously did that and wanted that.
No, I wrestled with it. Yeah. Dying to our egos is always hard, isn't it? But yeah, I think there had to be a conscious, actually, okay, I kind of need to let this go and honour the people. Because actually you never build something on your own, do you? It's always about a team. You know, it was a team of people who did Welcome Boxes, it was a team of people who built Upbeat. You may have been the initiator or catalyst, but it's other people who build it. So yeah, I think all of us kind of have to die to our egos a little bit to allow things to really grow up, and the benefit of that is seeing things flourish and it not all being about you or depending on you. So yes, good observation. Yeah, but yeah, for all of us, sometimes that's an emotional wrestle, isn't it? Yeah, because we like recognition, we like to be seen, but actually the best thing is seeing things that we've started flourish, isn't it? And our businesses grow and make a difference.
Yeah, can I echo the comments? Thank you so much for that. It's fantastic to hear. It's an important challenge, I think, for us to take as well, around how we can create sanctuary through the different things we're doing. Two things really jumped out. So two-part question, sorry. When you first had those boxes, you first thought, we're going to take these boxes around to our house, we're going to go up to a stranger's door, we're going to knock on that door, but no idea what's going to happen. So there's a real bravery to that. And I think I always like the distinction between bravery and courage. We get it the right way around. Courage is trained and bravery isn't. And so that idea of just putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
I'd love to know almost what you would say to encourage us to be brave, to take a step. And the second bit directly relates, which is how do we keep ourselves safe while stepping out? Because there's a risk, actual personal safety risk that steps into that as well, and so those two I feel are quite hand in hand.
Yes,
that makes sense.
Yeah, really good question. And I think that's why we started as a volunteer project. Actually, we need to create some sort of organisational structure so that we can do this safely, so that we can train people properly, because you can make all sorts of unwitting mistakes, as we made over the years, as you're trying to welcome people who've fled their country. You can ask insensitive questions, you can re-traumatise people, you can You can be culturally insensitive. So I think by thinking, okay, how can we help like create something that trains people, that is safe, that has safeguarding in place, that enables people to do that safely without taking away the really nice sort of relational part. Like, you know, we used to go with our kids and we'd visit an Afghan family with 9 children and they just have the best afternoon because, you know, how do we keep that relational thing whilst helping people to do it safely and helping people to be brave? You know, our little team, we were quite brave. We did have, you know, there's 2 children here and a mum, and we kind of knew a little bit about the family we were going to. But yeah, I think having those sort of, that's where organisations and businesses can help create that structure and capacity to enable other people to be maybe a little bit brave themselves, but within a safe kind of confine. So yeah, I went, actually I delivered some sort of Christmas bags this year to some families, and the delight when the kids ran to the door and like we had these bags just with chocolates and gifts, and I thought, I know why I love this, because, you know, because there's a relational connection. And for our children as well, I've got 3 children, they're all grown up now, one's in Japan and other ones are working. They still carry that heart and love for different cultures because we were able to take them with us and introduce them to families who are quite different from them. So I encourage you to do that if you've got kids or family members, to help them to be brave. Yeah.
How do we get involved? So if we wanted to get involved with any of the programs that are running, I know they're not yours, but where would we go?
Yes, so any of the programs running here, we have a great recovery program, which isn't just for people with addictions, it's for anyone recovering. You know, if you're in that place where I just don't feel safe, I've had a relationship breakdown, there's a great recovery group here on a Wednesday night, and there's other things going on. So please message and I can put you in touch with those. If you want to get involved with helping welcome refugees and asylum seekers, Upbeat Communities is fantastic. They have training and support, so you can go straight to them and ask if you can get involved in welcome boxes in Derby or something like that. So yeah. So I'm here, Karina at Reach. I should put up reach-events.co.uk, but you can find us on Instagram or Reach Events Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn and Reach Events is on LinkedIn as well.
Wow, amazing, gang. I don't know about you, but I feel greatly humbled. I'm also now worrying, thinking, okay, what can I do? How can I stretch myself out of my comfort zone? And it is a comfort zone. Maybe there's people in Duffield. We need a Duffield massive, and we can help people. This Duffield massive, I've decided, and you know, maybe we could do more. So thank you for literally being the most inspiring start I have had to my year. Thank you very much. Another round.